We are back at the MR.NOLDS organization with another discussion. Yeah, I seen the post. Yeah, I hear the women talking. All of them, they get in the bag, they doing their thing, and they ain't trying to be with somebody who controlling. But today we're gonna dive into that conversation. What do you do when you with somebody who's controlling? And also, are you even in a relationship that's controlled with somebody who's controlling? Do you understand the difference between cultivating and controlling? Because a lot of times, we don't know what it means to cultivate somebody, and sometimes we take it as controlling. Well, stay tuned, and we're gonna dive into this conversation with the MR.NOLDS organization. You don't want to miss this one. All right. Okay, what to do when you're dealing with somebody who is controlling? Well, first and foremost, this is something that a lot of people, especially women, they tend to find that men are super controlling, and when they are in a relationship with someone who's controlling, it's really sometimes hard to get out. Now, before we get into like how to deal with being in a relationship with someone who's controlling, first and foremost, I want to talk about a lot of people say they are in a relationship that with a partner that's controlling, but it's not necessarily true. So I want to talk first and foremost about what does it mean to be controlling, because a lot of people, they'll consider someone controlling because they don't really know the roles of a man in a relationship, the roles of a woman in a relationship. So let's clarify if your spouse is really controlling or are you just tripping. Now, first and foremost, a lot of us, we are raised in certain situations where like we grew up seeing our parent, like maybe let's say like myself, my mom being abused and things like that. So for my sisters, I know they're probably like, mentally they were on edge about being with a man who, tell them like who's basically an alpha male. So don't let, one of the first thing I want to say, like, don't let your past dictate, your future, because a lot of times, we watch how our grandma, our mom, our aunties, or our uncles, our dad, or someone in our life when we were younger, we saw what they went through, and basically we lived through those experiences. But you want to be very careful doing that. Why I say that is because some people, they are very on edge about like when they're in a relationship, because they watch their mom, they watch their aunties, they watch their grandma being in an abusive and controlling relationship. So the man may not even be abusive, but due to the fact that they grew up in a certain situation and in a certain environment watching that, they're very on edge about like, a man telling them what to do. Because, okay, for example, as a man, if I'm in a relationship with you, it is my job, if I see something that that's not necessarily good for you, it is my job to voice that. Now, there's a difference between giving advice. There's a difference between trying to show you something that's better for you than controlling you. Controlling you is when I said, man, you better not do this. You can't do this. I give you no choice. You have no choice but to do what I say. Now, if I'm with you and let's just say you're hanging out with a group of friends, and I noticed that, and I'm like, hey, the group of friends that you're hanging out with, I don't think those people, represent who you are or where you're trying to go. You should be mindful of the people you're hanging out with. That is not controlling. Controlling is more like you can't hang out with those friends. If I see you hanging out with those friends, you're gonna see what I do about it. That's more on the controlling side. But some people will confuse, giving good advice for being controlling. Almost like you can't have no opinions on what they're doing because they're supposed to do whatever they want. That is not true. When you are in a relationship, with someone, female or male, you should be able to notice something and be able to go to the person and be like, hey, I noticed this, and from what I noticed, this and that can happen. That is not controlling. That is basically observation, because a lot of times there's a lot of things we cannot see. So that is not controlling. So the first thing, you want to be careful, because you want to be careful on what you call controlling. Is what the person doing really controlling, or are you just reliving in the past, or you're just afraid of going through what your mom went through, going through, like I said, your auntie, your uncle, or dad, or whoever it was that went through something that has you on edge. We must heal from those past experience. Now, once you take in the time to verify or to see that that the person is actually controlling or not based on the situation, now I would recommend, now you want to see at what level. And what I mean at what level are they controlling? Now, anyone that's controlling is not a good thing. Controlling, being in a controlling relationship is not a good thing. Because most of the time, when you're in a relationship that your partner is controlling, it will become abusive. It will become abusive, because control, when someone is controlling, most of the time, when things are not being done how they want it to be done, they will most of the time will be abusive towards the partner, either verbally abusive or sometimes even physically abusive. So that is why I advise to never, if you're in a relationship, abusive relationship, and never make excuses for that person. The best thing for you to do is to leave. Now, a lot of time they don't start off like at level 10. That's why I say at what level they are. Now, sometimes people may give, we are all, especially men, we're very territorial. We're very territorial, meaning like, what is ours is ours. So sometimes it may seem like we may give hints of like, okay, man, he's trying to control me. And that's because it's coming from that territorial mindset. So there are minor levels, but you must be careful with that. Because if you notice as time goes on, the person is it's getting more, it's progressing. The person's controlling like how you talk, how you walk, who you hang out with, like everything, all aspect of your life. Then you really want to be careful. You want to be careful. Now, don't wait till you get to the level 10. There's been situations where people can't leave their house without their spouse permission. There's been the partner cannot spend no money without the spouse permission. And believe it or not, it's happened with men and women. Because there are some people just think like it's men that's controlling. There are a lot of women that can be very, very controlling. Like they'll tell a man, "Oh, you can't hang out with friends. Oh, I don't want you to talk to so and so." Because of, like I said, going back to like things that they're dealing with. Some of them can be jealousy. Some of them could be past experience of abuse, when they watched a parent or a loved one be abused, and things like that, so forth and so on. So we cannot just categorize controlling as a man thing. There are some women who really, really desires and want control, and that is not a good thing either. In a relationship, we should have understanding. We should be able to come together. If there's an issue, we come together and we make a mutual decision. Now, in some circumstances, when you are married, if you can't come to a mutual understanding, yes, the man must make, with the counsel of God and maybe another advisor, make the best decision for his family, for you guys. But the best case is coming together and having a mutual agreement, making a mutual decision. That is what I think God intends for us. But at the end of the day, we're men and women. We are some of us were from different upbringings, so we view things differently. So at the end of the day, there will be some decisions where we may not be able to agree. That may, especially when you're married, that the man have to make the final decision. Now, that does not mean it's my way or the highway, because in marriage, there's no highway. In marriage, is for better or for worse. It's a death do us part. But when you're dating somebody, you want to date someone that, especially for females, I'm saying this for females, you want to date somebody that you respect their decisions. What I mean by that, you don't want to basically be with a man that you disagree with most of his views, you disagree with his way of living, you disagree with basically most of what he has to say, because at the end of the day, that is the man is going to lead you. And if you're with somebody you disagree with most of what they have to say, and in order to keep a peace in the household, we must live on one accord. If most of the decisions he makes you don't agree with it, you're gonna most likely feel like you're being controlled. That is why being equally yoked is very important. Equally yoked is not only in just the sense of, oh, we're both Christians, it's also in the sense of, okay, do we have similar ideas when it comes to where we want to live, how we want to live, how much money we want to make, how we want to raise our children, and stuff like that. How do you spend your time of entertainment? It could be a lot of different things. For example, if you're somebody you don't really like being around too much people, and you go ahead, you marry somebody, or you're in a relationship with somebody who's always out with their friends or a social butterfly, it could probably be very awkward for you, or it could probably be you could probably have problems with that. You could be like, why are you always hanging out with your friends? Why are you always doing that? Because, in a sense, socially, you guys are not equally yoked. So equally yoked goes deeper than just, same religion, but equally yoked goes in the different aspects as well. How are you socially? How are you spiritually, financially, mentally? All those things. You want to have those. Now, you're not going to marry somebody who's just like you, but you want somebody who at least respect the decisions that you're making or that you make. And if you're someone that you've been told that you are controlling, and you do the things and you say the things you say out of good intention, you probably want to basically find a better way to word yourself, and also you want to better explain yourself. What I mean by that, you don't just want to be like, don't wear that. You want to basically get the person to understand where you're coming from. Hey, I know, where you're going in life. I don't think the clothes that you're wearing, is proper for the sceneries that you go to. And I know you're not that type of person, but people can misjudge you because of what you wear. So you want to be careful what you wear. Consider dressing this way and that way. So it comes off you're giving advice and you're not telling the person what to do. And also you letting them know where you're coming from. Because you're just telling somebody, yo, do that. It's controlling, because this is what I want, do it. You don't voice that it's for their betterment. So definitely, you want to be very careful when you are in a relationship and you're trying to get a point across, especially if it's something that's for the person, the betterment of the person. You want to be careful. You don't want to just tell them what to do. You want to better explain or show them why is it in their best interest to basically listen to what you're saying, instead of directly telling them what to do without no explanation. Voice tone is also very important. you want to be mindful of the tone. So that is a few things you can do if you're somebody, you know, that has been called controlling, but you know the things that you're doing and saying is for the opposite, for your partner's good. So if you are though somebody that is in an abusive relationship, like I said, one advice, if it's here and it's time to go, the best way is to just let go. The best way is just to let go. What I mean is just to let go. A lot of times people will just wait, or maybe this person will get better, maybe this and this will happen. But a lot of times it does not get better, especially if you have communicated to the person how you feel about the situation. So you really want to evaluate yourself first and foremost. Reevaluate yourself to see, man, the things that the person is telling me, is it really controlling? Because like I said, a lot of people sometimes, because of post-trauma, because of post-traumas they experience in their childhood traumas of watching their mom being abused and being taken advantage of, grandmas, aunties, and things like that. You know, they're on guard about, oh, don't tell me what to do to that. They're on guard because they don't want to end up in the same predicament as their mom, their grandma, their aunties. So you want to, and sometimes that causes a conflict because the person, how the things that they're telling you is for your good and they're not being controlling, but because you're so on guard, you know, you push them back. Oh, you're controlling this and that. A lot of women are just quick to use, man, you're so controlling, because, you know, they're not used to, for those who was not raised without a father, they never got to see how a true father, you know, raised the household. So they're so used to like their mom running the household. So when it's time to be in a relationship and a man is telling them what to do, it's like, oh, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not my daddy. You're going to, da-da-da-da-da. And that all stems from, you know, their upbringing. So you don't want to be that person that, you know, that carry the baggage of your past. So you really want to reevaluate yourself, see if you're coming off from a place where of trauma, of hurt, and things like that. Because a lot of times, you know, what we consider controlling is not, especially with the man. It's a man being a man. A man is called to cultivate his woman. To cultivate her is to train her, is to teach her. You know, like, you don't just have the perfect wife. You have to build, in a sense, the perfect wife. You have to build her with word of affirmation. You have to build her with prayer. You have to build her with the way you treat her. You have to build her by, you know, teaching her, telling her, like, you know, how you like things, how you want to see things, your views of life are perfect. There's no such thing. You don't just have a wife. A wife is built up. So, you know, a lot of times women who are not familiar with that type of structure, they rebel against a man cultivating them. So a man's not really trying to control them, but they're cultivating. Don't be that one. All them girls like, ain't no man gonna control me. Don't be that one. Understand the difference between controlling and cultivating. Power question of the day. What is one thing that women find that when a man do it, it comes off controlling? What is that thing? Comment down below what's that thing, and we'll get to it. That was another discussion with the MR.NOLDS organization. Hey, go ahead, subscribe right now. One important thing, do not leave the video without hitting that notification bell, because it is that bell. Every time we have a video, we release a video once a week, but it's hitting that notification bell that allow you to see our videos every time. Right when we hit it, right when we post, you'll get that video. So not only to subscribe, hit that notification bell and like the video.